The hum of the medbay was soft, almost soothing, as the young human stepped inside. The walls, a pale silver, glimmered under the soft luminescent panels, and a faint mist floated just above the floor. It was the kind of place that whispered safety, efficiency, and quiet authority. For a human, it felt alien, yet strangely inviting. He hadn't expected to need help. The skirmish on the outpost had been routine, or so he thought. His own species often underestimated their own fragility in the vast stretches of space. Yet a sudden explosion, a fragment of alien alloy, had struck him near the shoulder, leaving a sting that spread across his chest. Not life-threatening, but enough to demand professional attention. The nurse appeared before him without a sound, as if materializing from the mist. Her form was tall and lithe, covered in soft iridescent scales that reflected the medbay's light in waves. Her eyes, large and amber, studied him with an intensity that made his skin crawl in fascination. She carried no tools in her hands, only a small device strapped to her wrist. "State injuries," she said, her voice melodic, almost musical. It lacked any hint of emotion, yet held an undercurrent of curiosity. "Shoulder and chest," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady despite the strange awareness of her gaze. She nodded once, turning the wrist device on. A thin blue light traced along his skin, scanning, mapping, and measuring. He could feel nothing physical from it, only the awareness that she was reading his body as if it were an open book. When the scan finished, she stepped closer, reaching out with a single delicate hand. Her fingers hovered just above the wounded area and finally touched his skin, gentle and precise. The sensation was not painful, only light, like a whisper. Yet the human flinched slightly. It wasn't the touch itself, it was the unfamiliarity of it. The foreignness of being so thoroughly examined by someone so unlike himself. Her eyes widened slightly. A micro-expression that passed in the blink of a second. She froze, her hand hovering mid-her, and tilted her head. He could feel her focus, the almost electric attention she gave to his body. His heart thumped in his chest, an audible drumbeat in the quiet room. "You react differently than expected," she said softly, her voice a mixture of confusion and intrigue. I'm fine," he stammered, unsure how to explain what had just happened. Humans often reacted in ways his kind did not fully control, especially under intense stimuli. He had never been scanned by an alien, let alone touched in such a clinical yet intimate manner. She pulled back slowly, almost reluctantly, as if withdrawing from an experiment that had suddenly become personal. Her fingers lingered in the air, a moment longer than necessary, and he could swear she was studying not just his body, but the very nature of his response. "I am detecting unusual energy," she murmured. "Your physiology is more resilient. You adapt faster to stimuli than predicted. Even minor physical contact causes heightened responses in unexpected ways." He frowned, not fully understanding the meaning. "Does that mean something's wrong?" "Wrong? No," she said, shaking her head. "Your body? It is remarkable. Your species is efficient, adaptive, and strong. This is unusual among humans, even considering known parameters." He raised an eyebrow. Strong? Adaptive? He had always known humans were resilient, but hearing an alien say it carried weight. In her eyes, he saw a rare combination of clinical curiosity and genuine astonishment. She stepped back finally, resuming her scanning pattern along his arms and legs. The gentle hum of her device filled the room again, mapping the subtleties of his musculature, bone density, and neural response. Her focus was unrelenting, meticulous, and precise. The longer she examined him, the more he felt that her curiosity was about more than injuries. It was about him, and by extension, his species. After a long silence, she spoke again. "This is unusual. Humans, in general, respond predictably to stimuli. You deviate from standard expectations, not just physiologically, but in energy patterns, neural feedback, and reaction to touch. You are remarkable. He swallowed hard, a flush creeping over his face. Her words were clinical, yet carried an undercurrent of awe that made him self-conscious. I'm just me, he said, attempting humility, though internally he felt a strange pride. She paused, fingers hovering again, and tilted her head. Your reactions. They are not merely physical. They involve deeper mechanisms. Emotional, hormonal, neurological. There is a synergy here. An unexpected harmony. It is. Rare? Synergy? He asked, curiosity mingled with embarrassment. Yes, she replied. Your species demonstrates potential beyond measured parameters. A combination of resilience, adaptability, and heightened response mechanisms. If I were to map this across populations, you would stand out. He laughed nervously. So I'm special, huh? Not special in the sense of individual importance, she clarified. Special as a model of your species. You are. Representative of potential unobserved. It is. Fascinating. Her words lingered in the air, heavy with meaning. In her language, fascination was clinical, almost scientific, yet the intensity in her eyes betrayed something more, a rare emotion she allowed herself. Perhaps the first time she had encountered it in centuries of work. Would you like to rest? She asked abruptly, her voice returning to the routine calm of a nurse administering care. She stepped aside, gesturing toward a nearby platform that hummed softly, a bed-like surface that adjusted automatically to the shape of the human's body. He nodded, moving forward and lying down. As the platform conformed to him, the nurse's eyes studied him one last time, scanning, calculating, observing. He felt a moment of vulnerability, knowing she was still evaluating him. Yet in that vulnerability, he felt an odd sense of pride, as if his very existence impressed a being who had seen countless lives, species, and civilizations. Your species has potential for far-reaching resilience, she said quietly. It is not only your body. It is your adaptability, your response to stimuli, your ability to recover, even in conditions considered extreme by most standards. He lifted his head slightly. You really mean that? Her eyes locked onto his, unwavering. I have no reason to lie. What I observe is fact. What I detect exceeds expectations. The human exhaled slowly. For a long moment, silence filled the room. The mist drifted lazily around them, the hum of machinery, a gentle backdrop to a conversation neither fully understood. In that silence, an unspoken bond formed, one not of words, but of mutual recognition, one species acknowledging the remarkable qualities of another. Finally, she extended her hand once more, this time with a careful precision that felt almost tender. I will complete the scan, finalize the treatment. Your injuries are minor, but the data you provide, it is invaluable. He allowed her to touch his shoulder again. The contact was gentle, measured, and clinical, yet he could not shake the awareness that she had paused a moment. Her fingers brushed his skin, studying the reaction that passed through him. He wondered how many beings in the galaxy had ever felt such a moment, where curiosity, science, and something more intersected. The scan concluded. Her device retracted, folding neatly against her wrist. She nodded once, emotion almost imperceptible, before speaking. Your treatment is complete. Healing rates should exceed baseline predictions. Recovery will be rapid. He sat up, flexing his shoulder experimentally. Pain was minimal, replaced by a strange sense of energy coursing through him. Feels better than I expected, he admitted. Her amber eyes lingered on him for a beat longer than necessary. It is not merely the treatment. It is Your physiology. Your species demonstrates capabilities that are unexpected. It is admirable. He smiled, a little awkwardly. Thanks. I guess. Do not thank me, she replied softly. Thank yourself. Your biology, your responses, your very existence. They are remarkable. You embody potential not yet fully understood. For a human, the words were both confusing and uplifting. He had been praised for strength, for resilience, for skill, but never for being human itself. Yet here she was, an alien whose species dominated medical knowledge across multiple systems, marveling at his nature as though he were a specimen of unparalleled significance. He stood, feeling lighter, stronger, and oddly proud. I won't let this potential go to waste, he said, almost to himself. She watched him move toward the exit, then spoke again, almost as an afterthought. Your species is underestimated. Many dismiss humans as fragile, inefficient, or incapable of adapting. Yet you prove otherwise. He turned briefly, catching the intensity in her gaze. I'll remember that, he said, stepping out of the medbay and into the hum of the outpost corridor. The door sealed behind him, leaving her alone in the room. She exhaled softly, the faintest ripple of emotion passing over her features. Centuries of observing countless species had rarely produced such a reaction, and yet, in the presence of this human, she felt an unfamiliar mix of curiosity, respect, and perhaps a touch of wonder. In the days that followed, reports of the human's resilience, recovery, and adaptability spread throughout the outpost. Fellow soldiers marveled at the rapid healing, at the ease with which he moved, and at the quiet confidence he exuded. But none understood the subtle bond formed in the medbay, a bond born not of words, but of recognition of one being seeing the extraordinary within another. And somewhere in the quiet, silver-lit halls, the alien nurse reviewed her notes. Her scans, her data, her mediculu